My name is Dev, and it's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you for joining us, thank you. So, our first guest needs no introduction. How does it feel to be here tonight? It's great to be here. I know it's such an exciting, vibrant atmosphere, isn't it? It's brilliant, it's brilliant. Well, like I said, it's a pleasure to have you with us. I'd like to get started with Twitter questions. We've had loads of people message into the show with questions they want to ask you, that they're dying to ask you. So, if that's okay with you, I'll just get straight into it. Some of them are quite personal, but I'm really pleased that you've decided to spend the time with us to go through these questions, and that you've given us this exclusive interview because it means a lot to us here at the show. So it's a pleasure to have you. Welcome. So let's get started. What's your favourite way to spend a day off? Amazing. And do you get a chance to do that often? Is that something you can do a lot? That's brilliant. I'm glad that you get the chance to do that. In a work as busy as yours, it's amazing to think you can manage to find the time. So, well done. Good for you. Okay, so what type of music are you into? Interesting. I wouldn't have expected that about you. So would you say it's quite a variety? There's no one genre that you could kind of be narrowed down to then? Amazing. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, they're a favourite band of mine too. I really love listening to them. Okay, so what was the best vacation you ever took and why? Wow, so I'm guessing you spent a lot of time on the beach there, yeah? That's really good. I haven't actually been there myself. I really want to go. The most recent place I went to was I went to Bulgaria the other year. That was fantastic. Just as a tourist area, but I got to see things like Nesba. That was a gorgeous place. Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, when you went was fantastic as well. So yeah, would you want to go back again? Fantastic. That's really good. All right. Well, next question's a bit of a follow-on. So this is from Jimmy on Twitter, and he wants to know where's the next place on your travel bucket list and why. Gorgeous. That place sounds absolutely amazing. I would say my next favourite place to go personally would probably be Iceland. Oh, you'd like to go there too? Yeah, it's the views and everything. They're fantastic. So it's definitely up there in places I'd like to visit. Okay, so what are your hobbies? How did you get into them? Fantastic. And do you think they helped you with your career? So do you still find the time to do your hobbies now, or is that something that you're kind of it's more like a job now, so you kind of leave it be? Yeah, well, I'm glad you still get a chance to enjoy that. No, that's fantastic. That's really good. It's a interesting one and probably quite a deep one. What was your favourite age growing up? Interesting. That's a very interesting choice. It's quite a broad question. It could be, there's obviously that point as a kid where there's a lot going on, but, I'd say we're, being close to 30, we're still young. Still very young, but, there's a lot of great moments in life that is nice to cherish, but it's also good to grow and move on from them, so you can look back at them, I think. Yeah. No, fantastic. Okay. So what was the last thing you read? Fantastic choice. What a fantastic choice. For me, what was the last thing I read? This question. Yeah, okay, moving on. Would you say you're more of an extrovert or an like your career. It probably implies more heavily to one or the other, but that could just be part of the who you are on the camera versus who you are off the camera. Yeah, no, I agree. Fantastic. No, that's great. Okay. Bit more simple and to the point, less philosophical. What's your favourite ice cream topping? Mint, of course it is. Yeah, no, I love mint as well. That's fantastic. Moving on, what was the last TV show that you binge watched? Interesting choice. I'm actually binge watching Kevin and Stacey at the moment. Yeah. And I'm currently working my way through The Boys season 2, and I can't wait to start The Mandalorian season 2 as well. Yeah, no, they're fantastic shows, aren't they? Fantastic shows. Okay. Moving on. Are you into podcasts, or do you only listen to music? Interesting. I got into podcasts quite recently myself, and it's been very interesting so far. I wouldn't mind starting a podcast myself. It's something different, I think. Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. This one's a bit of a repeat, so we'll skip that one. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Okay, that's a good choice. That's a great choice. For me, pizza, all the way. I mean, think about all the different toppings you could have on pizza. So while you're only eating pizza, you could still be having lots of different varieties of foods and things like that. Genius, isn't it? See? Cheating the system. Okay. Do you like going to the movies, or do you prefer watching it at home? Yeah. Is it because of getting stopped in the streets, getting asked for autographs, things like that? Yeah. No, it's clear to see you don't mind it. You're a very genuine person. Your personality, you radiate positivity, which is fantastic. But yeah, I can see why. That could be a bit of a distraction. Okay. What's your go-to guilty pleasure? Interesting choice. Okay. Yeah. Not one of my personal choices, if I'm being honest. But that's fascinating. That's really good. Okay. So, in the summer, would you rather go to the beach or go camping? I know it's a tough one, isn't it? I'm very indecisive about that one. I love being out camping and in the wild and everything, but yeah, that's a really tough one. I do love the beach, nothing better than getting a tan on the beach. I hate sand though, it gets everywhere. Yeah, so frustrating. Yeah, no, I know. Okay, so next up we have what's one thing that can instantly make your day better? Really? I would not have expected that. No, that's fascinating. Well, I'm glad you chose to share that with us. Thank you. Okay. What's your favourite? Which meal is your favourite? Sorry. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? I agree. Dinner, through and through. Dinner is my absolute favourite choice. I sometimes have like a Yule breakfast or lunch and things, or my lunches and breakfast can be a bit rushed, whereas the dinner's always a good meal, and it's more acceptable to eat pizza for dinner. Yeah. Okay. What song always gets you out on the dance floor? Interesting choice. What would it be for me? I mean, if we're talking just gets me up dancing, then you've got the cha-cha slide. Slide to the left, slide to the right. It's a winner at like every party ever. But if we had to go for something like a proper tune that always gets me up, avid ASMR listener and the creator. Wow, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. So tell me a little bit more about that. Oh, really? So, okay, so just for those who aren't aware, ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. And it's, the best way I find to describe it to people is just like having your hair played with, to give you like a relaxing sensation. It's kind of like that, but essentially certain sounds or visual things, triggers as they're called, can trigger feelings of relaxation in people. And it can vary from something as simple as this, a bit of personal attention, me interviewing you, for example, or it can, it can just be simple sounds, tapping noises, crinkly sounds. It's a whole range of things that can trigger this feeling of relaxation. Yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, we could do a couple more questions and then we'll be done. Okay, what's the phone app you use the most? Yeah, it's probably, for me, it's probably like YouTube. Not because I kind of use YouTube a massive amount, but I'm constantly, if I put a video on in the background, or sometimes I like to listen to music through YouTube because I like their kind of suggested videos. The way that kind of auto plays through stuff can sometimes be a bit better than my Spotify's shuffle. So that's really good. Okay, so we'll just go through a couple more questions. What's your favourite board game? Interesting. Mine would be Ticket to Ride. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, great beginner's game. Real good way to introduce people into board games that aren't just like Monopoly and things like that. Yeah. Okay. If you could have an exotic animal as a pet, which would it be? Interesting. Now that's a fascinating choice. For me, I actually used to have, I guess, kind of an exotic pet. I used to have an African pygmy hedgehog. His name was Smudge. Yeah, he was adorable. He was a lot of fun to have. Took a lot of work, a lot of cleaning and keeping him at the right temperature and things. But yeah, he was lovely. He was absolutely lovely. No, they're not spiky all the time. Their spikes come up as like a defense mechanism. So Smudge was, when he got used to our scent after we first got him and got comfortable with us, and probably associated us with food, you could pick him up and his quills would be down and you'd be able to hold him and things. Yeah. Okay, a couple more questions. Well, we know a lot about your career, so I think we can skip some of these career questions. Okay, it's a weird one. Are you looking forward to retiring, or do you plan to work as long as possible? Okay, so not so much working, but putting your time into charity and humanitarian causes. That's fantastic. I hope that's not just because we're on TV. No, I'm sure you mean it, really. No, that's fantastic. Okay, let's find 2 more questions to go through. Okay, here's a big one. This is quite a big one. If you could do it all over again, would you pursue the same career? Why or why not? That's very interesting. It's for me, it's a tough one. I've had lots of ups and downs in my career, and I'm in a very good place at the moment. Very happy with where I've ended up. But there's obviously lots of things I could have done differently to get me into different places. But that's hindsight, isn't it? That's what it's like looking back. But I'm very happy with where I am now, and optimistic for the future. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna quick scroll now. We'll find one more question. There's no one in the audience is having a hand up, so we'll find one more question. What have we got here? Okay, so a big one. What can always bring your family together? I mean, that's great. I know we had Thanksgiving for those in America recently, and I'd say, I guess for me, it's kind of Christmas. I live away from night.